over the years, I've had many big deer on camera, like on an oak ridge during a October full moon at like 10:30 in the morning eating acorns. What I really like to look for, especially, if you're flexible, I know probably a lot of listeners aren't so flexible with their work, but even though I'm mostly someone that focuses around temperature, but if I see a day where I see prime temperatures, I see rising pressure, and then if it's near probably within 3, 4 days of a full moon, like those days every year are just phenomenal. And sometimes you don't even get all that in one season. Like
Yeah.
there's just you have to have a little bit of luck the way that falls together. But if it does, like those are probably going to be your best days. So even though I try to hit the temperature more than anything else, I'm still looking at all these other things, and sometimes that can be a deciding factor. Like everything's lining up for this certain day to be tremendous. Like
Hmm.
I have to get out there.
Yeah, exactly. And those are those days, especially like in October or December, where you're not just kind of relying on the rut, but like when those days are coming, that's when you'll see your Instagram feed or whatever just
Yeah,
lights up with a bunch of people killing bucks, right?
exactly.
You
Yep.
you mentioned another thing there I wanted to talk about, and this is the last thing from the article before we move on here. But the full moon, and especially I think the article I got it in front of me here. You talked about it in October, that October full moon. That's
Yep.
one also where like guys will almost fight you on what they think is better when
Yep.
it comes to the moon phase. And again, I've always kind of leaned more towards I think the full moon is better because of just personal experience and trail cameras and stuff like that. Obviously, not running as many as you are, but
Yep.
just the ones that I'm running, it seems like that's always been the case. So I'm interested too to hear that part of it, like full moon versus new moon. You're seeing a lot better movement during that October
Yes.
full moon.
Yep. And it just seems like that full moon usually hits somewhere in that mid to late October period. And that's just the time where bucks just need certain factors like if you have the right temperature, the right moon, or rising pressure, or all of the above, like that's the time of year where things can really explode when you have those certain, scenarios. In my experience, why I think full moons are a factor is I actually see less night activity during a full moon. Some people I've heard say completely different, where they think more light at night makes more deer active, but I find that I think it makes them less active because deer are more comfortable in low light conditions. So I think when you throw in, especially clear skies and a full moon or close to full moon, it just kind of shocks them. It messes, especially with their feeding patterns. I find that you'll see more late morning feeding during a full moon, like 9 to 11 a.m. versus maybe 7 to 9, or some bucks or even in their bedding area sooner. But over the years, I've had many big deer on camera, like on an oak ridge during a October full moon at like 10:30 in the morning eating acorns.
Mhm.
Like that's just a telling sign that that buck probably didn't feed as heavily the night before. A little insecure, and he's hungry. He's filling his belly up, before he goes to bed a little later than usual. So that's been my experience. I see it on my trail cameras. We also do a fair amount of spotlighting. It seems like if we're spotlighting during a full moon, we see less deer. So
Mhm.
um, I will also add to that too that I find less late afternoon activity though during a full moon. It seems like mornings are better during a full moon than the late afternoons, and I just think everything kind of gets pushed back because of that.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I've it also seems like where the moon's at as far as like if it's overhead, if you got a full moon that's still hanging in the mornings and it's up
Yeah,
over your head while you're hunting out there, like those seem to be especially over food sources. Those seems to be some of the best days that I've had.